we are in Alliance-14 for Operation Chimera. This is an RD focus mission, or potentially an RD focus mission. I'll talk about that in just a second. We need to do 180 seconds of stun to enemies, or, and this is I think the only mission that I've come across that is an or we need to have our team do 800 damage to a tank that we have tracked. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a second. If we want to get the secondary done for this, we have to win the match. So here we are on mines. I'm in the Tier 9 American RD, the 5355. You've probably seen some of my other videos on RD focused missions that require stun to get it done. I'm doing the same thing I did in those videos in this case, where I've actually downgraded the gun because the stock gun fires 25% faster than the upgraded gun. So if you're going to run the 5355 or potentially even any other RD, look at the rate of fire of the gun, because the only thing that matters here is your rate of fire. Your alpha doesn't matter. The splash distance largely doesn't matter because RD is so accurate in its current implementation. So with other stun missions for RD, one of the key things that I want to do is I want to focus on areas where there's groups of tanks. It's a little hard to do because, one, I'm not really an RD player, so I don't really know the right positions for RD. I don't know if this is a good position or a bad position for RD on this map, but it's the position I've chosen. I don't really have great shots into the city there, where those guys are grouped up, so I'm just taking whatever shots I can. Now the other thing here is you should always be firing. In other missions I try not to blind fire simply because I want to keep track of the mission. Here, just because of the difficulty in getting shots on those heavies, plus the general difficulty of doing 180 seconds of stun, which is at least 15 shots from your gun if you're hitting single targets, you really do need to be firing constantly. Now, one of the great things about the 5355, and it's probably the tank that I would recommend for doing this, is the gun arc is pretty wide on it, and so you can actually redirect your fire without moving your tank, unlike some of the, say, Russian RD that have very narrow focused, or even in the case of the American RD, the M12 I think is a much narrower arc of fire. So the 5355 is the right tank to do this on. Now let's come back to that or condition for a second. So the mission states 180 seconds of stun, or you need to immobilize a tank and your team needs to do 800 damage to that tank. Now, there's a problem with that, and there's a reason I chose the stun. Because I did actually make a couple of attempts at the or before I decided to just do this with artillery. When you track the tank, the enemy tank, your teammate or teammates need to do 800 damage to that specific tank during that specific tracking event. So you can't keep tracking a tank and having your team keep damaging it. It has to be one tank, tracked once, hit for 800 damage. Okay? That to me says that side of the mission, if you want to take that route for the mission, needs to be done at high tier. Now, because I wasn't able to effectively complete that, what I don't know is whether or not that has to be done in an artillery or you can do that in a non-artillery tank. I suspect it's the latter, but I wasn't successful in doing that, and I knew that I could get this mission done with 180 seconds of stun just because I have the 5355 and it's a great artillery. In any case, this is Alliance-14 with honors. If anyone knows whether or not you can do the or condition with a regular tank, please do post it in the comments of this video. But if you're going to do this with RD, and it is pretty easy to do with RD because it is American and they have a decent selection of RD, Do it with a high rate of fire gun. Downgrade your gun if you need to. Throw cola on your artillery if you need to, or whatever other food helps accelerate the rate of fire. Focus on groups of tanks. It wasn't easy for me to do that in this particular match, but focus on groups of tanks, because if you're stunning two tanks at the same time, the number of hits that you need is actually pretty low. I mean, it's going to be like 8 or something like that, if that. It's probably even less than that, 6 or 7. So focus on groups of tanks while you're trying to stun. And the other thing is, you always need to be firing. If you need to blind fire on a guy that's pulled behind a rock, blind fire that guy. And then move on to the next lit target. Don't sit there and wait for targets to be lit, particularly where you know where those targets are. This is really about getting shells out of the barrel of your gun. So just keep firing no matter what is happening. You'll get this pretty quick, particularly if you have the 53, 55. But some of the other American Arty can get this done as well. Good luck, guys.